What's up YouTube? In this video I'm going to be explaining my thought process as I play against these pretty tricky matchups. I have been playing with this hog deck that I rated as the best hog deck in my previous video. And it's basically just Ian's deck but with goblins. You can run this also with Bomb Tower, but I think so far I've been having more success with Tesla. So at this point in this game, I already know that he's running RG just because of E-Spirit Skeletons. That alone was basically enough. But then the Ghost Phoenix, yeah. Here I cycle my Knight, it'll tank for the Phoenix, and at the same time, my Knight will DPS down his Giant. So in this kind of matchup, because I'm playing against RG where they have the Dagger Duchess, I know that even though I've managed to get some early damage, getting a lot of damage in single is not going to be possible, which is, for example, why I didn't cycle a Hog Rider there in front of the Firecracker. You kind of just have to be careful, and he just went for 1 RG, so the reason I'm not going in aggressive is because, especially in single elixir, Evo RG is so strong. So I pre-placed a Tesla and I'm ready for him to go in for an Evo RG. I'm just, getting ready to play cards. I don't want his Phoenix to get a hit on my Tesla, and so I just go for a Hog, and he's gonna have to play something anyway. He uses a Fisherman and a Ghost, so at this point I'm thinking, okay, is he going to go in one of the lanes? And yeah, he does. So I instantly go in for Night Goblins. I go for a Log. For some reason, unfortunately his Fisherman doesn't die, and so I have to use a late Tesla to retarget the Evo Knight. And okay, things aren't too bad at this point. We are down damage, but that's kind of expected versus RG, and you kind of got to take your chances. So my biggest tips against the Dagger Duchess is that you just want to be passive. I've lost so many games just by being overly aggressive. You don't need to be. Here I use Earthquake just to kill Evo Skeletons and everything. But yeah, you just shouldn't be too aggressive. You need to wait for them to commit, go in for their push, and kind of play more on the defensive. He goes for a nice RG, but I just go for Goblin's Log, because I didn't think he'd react in time, and he didn't. And it just gives me a free defense. I kind of want to keep my Tesla. I want to keep the momentum. He fireballs my Firecracker. It doesn't hit my tower, which is kind of important. At this point, he's already used his Fisherman, so I go for a Hog knowing he's going to go for a Ghost. I Log thinking he might go Skellies onto my Firecracker. And, I get a little bit of damage, and now I have to back off. I have to defend, pre-place a Tesla. It's annoying for him. He goes RG. I instantly go Goblins. I go for them on the right side just so that he doesn't get any value. Log, my Tesla is cleaning up, my Knight is also helping out, and his Evo RG gets absolutely 0 value. Now, since my Knight has a little bit of HP, I go in just because it's going to tank the Dagger Duchess, at least most of the hits. Hog gets a hit, then he gets, gets pulled to King, but he still doesn't even have King Tower, which is actually kind of huge. Cycle an Evo Knight, and he goes for this nice Fireball onto my Tesla. Kind of just not really too much I can do about that, because he has Log. This matchup is much better if they are using Log. If they have Bar Barrel, for example, it's much easier. But since he has Log, he can kill my Goblins, without any real difficulty. I did go for that Ice Spirit to catch his Evo Skeletons, and again, he keeps going for this Evo RG at the bridge, which I don't think is a good play, because this time I know that he's going to Fireball, and I just insta-go Goblins, DPS it down with my Knight, and we're in a pretty good spot. He just used his Fireball, so I go for my Firecracker in the opposite lane, because I need to make sure it goes in the right lane, and it doesn't really make a difference because he doesn't have Fireball, can't hit my tower. And because of that, I'm also just like, I'm just going to DPS down his Giant at the bridge. He Fireballs, and now I'm like, wait, I can kind of just go in. I have 2 Knights, I have an Evo Knight, I pretty much just win here at this point. He has no easy way of stopping this, and yeah, he goes for kind of a panic Evo RG, but at this point it's already over. Pretty well controlled game, I would say. Kind of notice how, especially in single elixir, I didn't support my Firecrackers overly, keeping track of their cycle, and yeah, pretty clean win. This next game is against Dagger Duchess, but he's running Lava Hound, and yeah, it's kind of difficult. Even though I have Tesla and Firecracker, on paper it might look like it's not too bad, but very easy to lose here. Here I was very aware that he could arrows my Goblins and Ice Spirit, so I kind of just waited before going for this Hog. And since, he didn't support anything, I was like, okay, let's just go in. I thought he'd go for Barbs, which is why I went for a Firecracker. You can basically always get away with going Firecracker against Barbs, so it's usually the right play. But in this case he has Guards, which I don't really know if it's better or worse. Against Dagger Duchess, it feels kind of worse, but I guess the counter push is easy to defend, so harder for me to get damage, but also harder for him to get damage. At this point, so I don't cycle my Tesla. Reason being, if I cycle my Tesla, how am I going to stop a balloon in the opposite lane? So I'm kind of just waiting, I'm just cycling cards in the back, and I'm just being patient. Go for a Firecracker, thinking he's probably just going to arrows. I'll just wait, and I have a bit of a push going on. I go for this log, and I just decide, you know what, I can try and protect my Firecracker, and if he goes for like an arrows or something, then by then like he goes for a zap, and by then I already have Elixir. I probably should have instantly gone Hog at 0, I did hesitate a little bit. I think I could have gotten more damage if I'd gone for my Hog quicker, but this is easy to defend. I just pull everything with goblins, I log, and yeah, we're in pretty good shape. Pretty much equal on damage, which is never a bad thing given that they start a couple hundred HP higher up, so we've gotten more damage than him, so I'm pretty happy at this point. Goes for a Lava Hound in the back, and this time I'm kind of just thinking, do I cycle a Firecracker or do I cycle a Tesla? I go for a high Tesla because it's double Elixir and I could cycle back to another Tesla if he goes balloon opposite lane. I could also just Firecracker and tank a hit. But at the same time, this high Tesla will also snipe his support troops and pull his Lava Hound, just like this, because I don't want to take too much Lava Hound chip either. It does add up, and given that it's probably going to be a single lane game, given there's only 40 seconds left, I need to preserve as much HP as possible. Also, I will link my Tesla guide at the top if you guys want to know like different Lava Hound, different Tesla placements. He just used barbs, so I'm like, I know he's going to guard, so I prediction log and I just go in. We just kill his guards immediately, and Hog to Rider basically just wins me the game. That was just basically a perfect example of just keeping track of his cycle. There was nothing, you know, too complicated. But again, remember how against Lava Hound pushes, I'm always cycling my Firecracker first, so that I can get back to another one after he goes for an arrows. Like here, I already have my Evo Firecracker in cycle, and there's nothing he can do about it. Go for a Knight, tank for Lava Pops, and yeah, at this point I just have to slowly cycle them out and make sure that I don't, like, one bad play I can still lose. Like if I go in for a Hog unnecessarily, like here I just go in because I know if he goes Barbs I'm going to get value, but since he went Lava Hound he doesn't have any Elixir, and yeah, that's game. In this final game I'm playing against a notoriously difficult matchup, which is of course Graveyard, SplashYard. And my tips for this are, you know, you kind of just need to know your game strategy going in, that you don't want to be going same lane against SplashYard, and you need to make sure that you're doing two other things as well. You're making sure that you're cycling Firecrackers because they don't have a good way of dealing with it. Like here you see he has to Nado just to kill my Firecracker, which means now he doesn't have Nado for my Hog Rider. And you also want to be pre-placing Teslas. At this point I'm not really sure what he's running. I thought it could still be some Drill Cycle deck because this kind of still has all the same cards. But once I've seen the Baby Dragon and the Tombstone, I know for sure what he's playing. Tried going for an Ice Spirit just to get some Hog damage. Almost, but not quite. So I defend the Baby Dragon with a Knight, and I'm already thinking, okay, how am I going to win this game? I'm not going to be able to go same lane as him. At this point, the lanes haven't really been decided. I should have blocked the bridge there. But the lanes haven't really been decided. Like, he has a little bit of damage on the right, but he can still go on the left. So I'm kind of just waiting. You don't want to be too aggressive. You need to wait for them to commit somewhere and then punish the commitment. So he goes in here, I go for goblins, and then I go for this low log. Since he goes for a poison, I have to earthquake as well, because my goblins die and nothing's targeting the graveyard. This was about as well as I could have defended. We're down like 600, but the good news is he doesn't have his Evo Knight. He doesn't have his Knight in cycle, and I have 2 evolutions. So I need to somehow find a way to punish that. So I'm thinking, okay, I can go for my Knight plus Hog Rider, and I'm gonna hover my Tombstone, hover my log knowing he's gonna Tombstone. Then he's gonna Nado my Hog Rider for sure, and I know that he's gonna go for a Knight onto my Evo Knight, and so I go Evo Firecracker at the bridge. I go for an Ice Spirit knowing he's gonna Bomber and hoping that if the Ice Spirit landed, then the Firecracker would have shot it and it would have died, and my Evo Cracker would have stayed alive, but unfortunately the Bomber splashed off to the Ice Spirit. High Tesla was a really nice play. It just stopped him going for his Little Prince Graveyard push because he really wanted to. But since I went for a high Tesla, it kind of just stopped him going for Little Prince ability. He still used the Little Prince ability, but it was a bad ability. and he didn't go for a graveyard. Yeah, I get Earthquake value on his Tombstone, but he just nados my hog away. We're slightly up, but you can see how I'm pre-placing Teslas. I block the bridge and go for goblins. And at this point I'm already trying to get back to my hog rider, so I instantly go for a hog in the left side. I got my log ready. I Earthquake his Tombstone this time, just for that extra damage. And my hog does manage to get a hit, which is kind of huge. I'm up 500, and I'm going to need a bit of a buffer here, because this game is going to be really close. Because he's got this Evo Bomber Nado combination, which is kind of impossible to stop. He's definitely going to get damaged, so I need to make sure I'm kind of keeping the lead. You see how I go for this high Evo Knight, and I didn't delay to play it, just so that my Firecracker, when it hits the Little Prince, it would splash the tower as well. That was kind of a nice play. We're up quite a bit of damage right now, but again, it's still so close. He goes in for a graveyard push. I block the bridge. I kind of should have played my Tesla a tile higher so it hits the knight, but it's okay. Either a tile higher or a tile lower, because right now my Tesla's actually not doing anything, so not really the best Tesla, but everything else was fine. Still up 700, so I just cycle a hog, I have my Earthquake ready, and I go for it because he already used his Nado and stuff in his last push, or rather I've outcycled it, so he then has to Nado as well, and so I just go really aggressive. You kind of have to take your chances. I block the bridge, go for goblins, and I go for this low Tesla just to buy myself some time, because I know he's going to poison as well. Guaranteed he's going to poison the goblins. But since I went so aggressive, I managed to get quite a lot of damage. And then look at this. One Evo Bomber, double splash, and he's already back to being equal. But since he used his Nado, I can Earthquake, which is what I immediately thought about, and yeah, I get the hog hit that I need. So Evo Bomber is so stupid. But yeah, again, pre-placing a Tesla, and he kind of has to go YOLO all out. So I go for a Knight, just kind of block the bridge, but he uses LP ability. And at this point, it's just defend at all costs, and make sure he doesn't get any damage. Good Ice Spirit. Hit two of the outside skeletons that spawned. And now it's just, yeah, the hog left lane, GG's. Hope you guys enjoyed. Sub if you're not already subbed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.